I am bountiful, I am magical, I am infinite, I am light. 11/11/11, I was in Rosario, Argentina, doing the first sacred circle for women. It wasn't even called the Lemurian Sisterhood yet. So I've celebrated the anniversary of that today. Yay, 8 years. Isn't that amazing that time goes by like that? Wow, 8 years. And all that's happened in that time. Greeting from a Spanish in Poland. Wow. Marga Chow and Angela Finelli. Hello, Angela. Yay. So tomorrow I leave Cali for Bogota, where I'll spend the night. And then I leave Bogota for Houston, Tucson. And I'll be home for almost 2 whole weeks. So that'll be fun. It's a beautiful time of year in Tucson. So 11/11, who doesn't think something about 11/11? Doesn't that always give us some kind of feeling when we see it on the clock or when we see it on the calendar? I haven't ever seen it on anyone's number plate on their car, but it's always possible, isn't it? So the things that come to me, as I said, about 11/11 is this amazing anniversary of the beginning of the sacred circles of the Lemurian Sisterhood. It's been 8 years of growth and change in so many directions. I was saying just earlier as we were getting ready for this meeting that 11/11 and the full moon today and the meetings that I've had here in Buenos Aires and yesterday in Cali, this weekend in Cali, have been just astounding to me. And maybe I shouldn't be surprised anymore at how wonderful each beautiful circle is. But I am, and they seem to just continue to create more and blossom more and open more and have more unexpected things happen, more beautiful things happen, more healing, more transformation. So, I know that not everyone can be at a sacred circle or even at a Cryon event or any of that, but I know that when you are tuning in inside, in your heart or in your thoughts, that you're there, that we didn't always have the internet. We didn't always have even a letter that we could give to someone and invite them. And we had to, in the days of Lemuria, we used our intuition, our telepathy, and our entanglement to be with each other. So if we're not together in person, I know that we can be energetically together, and that the energy of the people who are not in the room support those that are. So thank you for that, and all of you for the work that you do. Love from the Czech Republic. Hi, Amy Alpers. Okay. Missy saw an 11/11 license plate there in Maine. Wow. Amazing. Okay. I would venture to guess that that was done on purpose. What do you think? I think so. Okay. So, about 11 and the numerology part of 11. It's exciting to me because it's really the first master number. In numerology, we're always breaking down and adding up numbers to create another number. 11, we don't do that. We will look at the 1 and the 1, but today is about the 11, so let's celebrate that. Also, we have the marvelous full moon energy that we're in, and that moon is in Taurus, my sign, and that means that the sun is in Scorpio, the opposite, and that Taurus full moons are very expansive, and it's a time to sort of reap the rewards of what you've been working on, what the seeds that you've sown. It's time for you to get some of that back, and how wonderful that is. You get to do that. And this is supported by this moon. And also it helps us bring closure on things that have been sort of on our backs, on our shoulders, let's say. Hi, Shamir. He says, Mele'ha. And Anna Carol from Alberta. Thank you. So closure's good, right? When we work through things and we can have closure about them, and sort of that weight is lifted. And that's what this full moon is about take a breath, as I say so many times. And then when we have closure on one thing, what do we get? Space for something else. So now we have space for new opportunities along with this moon. So after the full moon, which is technically tomorrow, Tuesday, we start to look at the 2 weeks till the new moon, and that's a really good time to plant seeds for new beginnings, and the opportunity is supported. That's what I love about knowing this stuff, is that when we have information, we can use it. So, and the other little detail about these days, astrologically and astronomically as well, is that on Halloween, October 31st, Julia's birthday, we have Mercury retrograde started, and that'll be done on the 20th of November. So also, I don't mind Mercury retrograde because it's really a teaching tool. Yes, electronics and stuff like that can get weird, and does. And for me, flights are always an issue. But, we'd be creative, and we'd be prepared and watching and paying a little more attention, going over details. So this Mercury retrograde now is a time when we have the opportunity to have a more spiritual focus, because we have this Taurus moon supporting us. We also have Mercury crossing the path directly of the Earth and the Sun. So it would be like an eclipse if we saw that. That happens today, actually. So you can't really see it unless you have a telescope that is trained to black out the sun so you don't hurt your eyes. But we can feel it. We can have the energy of it. So, master number 11. Let's talk about that. Nancy, thank you for being here. 11 is the number of the old soul. So that's what we're looking at, and maybe that's why it resonates so much with so many of us, old souls, that, we see that number on the clock, or we see it somewhere. A friend of mine sent me a picture of a boarding pass the other day. His flight took off at 11:11 and landed at 2:22. Wow. And, I don't know, do you think 20 or 30 years ago we would have thought anything? We go, oh, those numbers repeat. But now we have knowledge about numerology, and so we look at that and go, okay, some little message there, a little wink from Spirit. So 11 is also two parts. It's the magician and the high priestess. So, of course, I love that. And the magician, we're going to upgrade that a little from the Merlin look and sort of thoughts about that kind of magician, and look at the magician as someone who, again, creates opportunities through leadership that can transform lives. And, every now and then we need that, don't we? Yeah. And then the high priestess, of course, brings her intuitive feminine aspect to this number. So we have the magician and the high priestess, which is, of course, the masculine and the feminine. And then we have, along with that, we have creativity and leadership, which is the male, more left brain role. And then we have the female right brain role. So we're looking at balance in master number 11. Again, isn't that nice? So as we are in 11, what we can have support us is expanding our understanding of ourselves and others, because that always helps, doesn't it? When we gain more wisdom about who we are, and that always helps us see others in a different way. So, of course, it always starts inside of us that we can have the opportunity to gain wisdom. So that's supported now in this 11. And all, 11 is the whole month. Today is 11/11. So during the month of November, this is the opportunity. Expanding our understanding of self and others. 11 is really about expansion, and that's why I called this the doorway to expansion, because we're given a lot of support in expanding. And it also helps us look at accepting things on faith. And that's not always easy, is it? It's logic, we just seem to go there. So accepting things on faith and challenge our paradigm of it has to make sense. So in our spiritual awareness, we're trying to learn to trust more all the time. And when we trust, of course, that's where our faith is. So those two can work together, can meld in this 11/11. And also, this is a time that we can learn to be more empathic. And empathy isn't just for other people. It's inside too. Empathy and compassion, my favorite subject these days, the favorite teachings from the Star Mothers. So when we learn to be more empathic, we can also learn more about what makes other people tick. Let's face it, we most of the time live in the world inside our own minds, and we think everyone else has the same thoughts that we do, but they don't, do they? Yeah, just start a conversation about almost anything, and you can see that it's not. As Cryan always says, nothing is as it seems. So it's a good time for that paradigm to shift, and it's supported by the 11, and certainly by the 11/11. When we look at 1 and 1 next to each other, what we're seeing is self-actualization. So all these ideas and all of this self-examination helps lead us to self-actualization. It's a journey to the better self that we have inside. That's why we're here, isn't it? Is to find that better self, that place that we know we have an expanded consciousness that is the gift to us. So 11 asks us today, are we balanced? Because with that 1 and 1 next to each other, that's the masculine and feminine creating, the magician and the priestess creating, the yin and the yang creating that perfect balance. So we have solar and lunar, and when we merge all of that, that's the place of balance. And balance isn't static, it's always moving. So we have, a little more solar right now, and then tonight we'll have a little more lunar, especially with the full moon. But we have that sense inside of us that we're living more, moving more, hopefully, towards a place of balance. And that's what 11 is about. And the ones don't separate, they stand together, and they are the balance. Now, if we have 1 plus 1, if we take those ones and add it together, we get 2, the number 2. So sometimes that can mean duality, but it also can mean acts of kindness and justice, like a scale coming into balance. It's that 2, and that it's a partnership. So 1 and 1 standing together are a partnership, right? So as our own masculine and feminine learn to have partnership inside of us, we can see how the world is in partnership with us, see how spirit is in partnership with us. And what does that mean when we have that expanded consciousness and we are in partnership with our inner self and others, and our inner self and our outer self? So we have this 11:11 time to use the spiritual focus to create something new. And that's really the magic here, is that we are supported in creating something new. And how about that? What is it for you that you would like to create that's new? Maybe you haven't thought about that yet. Maybe you haven't felt into that yet, as my friend Shamir says. So if you were feeling in today to what could you create out of balance and expansion, what would that be for you? What would that be? And just, you don't have to have a bunch of thoughts about it. You can just let that percolate inside and see what bubbles up to the top. You might be surprised that it's not what you think it is. It might be something completely new and different. And that would be cool, wouldn't it? It would be a great surprise. So, the Star Mothers are sort of knocking on the door of expansion at the back of my head. So I'm going to invite them to come in and invite all of you to have a connection with them. So let's begin by just closing our eyes for a moment and taking a breath in and out. And another. And just let all the words sort of go to the side for right now. And let the softness of your inner life just stabilize in one sweet spot. Feel your body. Just feel it. And as you do, notice if you have any tension in your belly or your face or your neck. And just breathe into those places and let them soften. And as your physical body begins to soften, let your emotional awareness open, just open, not even become anything else, just open. And invite your heart to listen. Not just your ears or not just your mind, but invite your heart to be your ears for the time being, as we invite the message of the Star Mothers on this most energetic and auspicious day. Our dear Shining Ones, we step forward into this cosmic energy with great joy as numbers and moons and suns are flying around. We tell you this, they are always doing something, aren't they? But we are happy that you celebrate your numbers because it gives you a time to be together. As you celebrate these numbers, the 1 and the 1 and the 1 and the 1, look look at all those wonderful pillars and let those ones be pillars of a new consciousness for you. Just say that it is. Feel it in your heart and say, yes, that is the pillar of a new consciousness for me right now. And here's the magic. You don't have to figure anything out. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to plan anything. We know you want to. We know you think you have to try or create something. But here's the thing. You don't. Why not let us do that for you? Do you think you could have that much faith in the divine source of all love that we could create pillars of a new consciousness for you? So take a moment right now, if you would, to put your hand on your heart, your physical heart. And just say this, either out loud or to yourself. There are pillars of a new consciousness growing inside of me. There are pillars of a new consciousness growing inside of me. There are pillars of a new consciousness growing inside of me. And then take another breath. And just relax into the knowing and the trust. Have faith. Stay in that faith of your 11th day, every day. And ask yourself, perhaps in 11 days, has a pillar of new consciousness grown inside of me? That might be something good. Might be something good to ask yourself. And see how your wisdom has grown in the past 11 days, or 22 or 33, or as many as you feel. Let's not limit this by numbers. Let's only feel into it. Let us only tell you that. Feel how you feel when you remember that you are growing pillars of a new consciousness inside of you. Because our observation is that you have a tendency to forget these things that you say. But we are feeling differently about this for you. We are seeing you differently. We are understanding that there is a desire inside of you. There is a desire that's coming forth right now for balance and purpose. That you do wish to ride this beautiful wave of opportunity. Yes. Pillars of a new consciousness are not only growing, they're manifesting. And in that consciousness is an understanding, a deep understanding, beautiful, shining ones of your sacred self. And how the sacredness of your consciousness manifests every day. What does that look like? Take a breath. Don't think about it, please. Or if you do think about it, also feel about it. And more than anything, trust about it. We are the star mothers who have come to guide, who have come to reawaken, who have come to show you love in a way that you haven't experienced in many, many lifetimes. You are the children of a new humanity. Inside of you has always lived something that we call the star template. This is something that's been sleeping, but is now awakening. And your brothers and sisters around the planet are awakening their star templates also. And we will teach you more about what that means. We will tell you this now, that it is a 5-pointed star. And of course, it is the same as the 5-spoked wheel. So there you are, teachings of the star template for the new humanity. And we give you these teachings today about yourself, the old soul. This is the 11th day for you, old soul. This is the 11th month for you, old soul. And it is an 8-year cycle since 11-11-11. The next 11-11 in 8 years will be a completely different change, of course. And you don't have to guess. Just hang on for the ride. We will be with you every step of the way. And as those days, times unfold, your understanding of your sacredness and the new human and the new humanity will continue to expand, so that you are enjoying the ride more than ever. More joy in your ride. More celebration in your understanding, your learning. More acknowledgement of your sacredness and your magnificence. More connection to the Star Mothers and to your community. These are the things that you don't know that you've been waiting for. So as we complete this message to you, we ask you this one thing. It's not a small thing, but we know that it is who you are to be this thing. We ask you this. We ask you to see yourself. We ask you to honor yourself. We ask you to see the light that you are shining on each person that your lives touch. And as we have just recently taught, your light does not diminish by what you give away. For it does not come from a human place. It comes from the deepest part of the source of love that is limitless. So here is your opportunity to be that light. Not to try to be someone else's light or be near their light, hoping to get some of that on you. You will only be a shadow then. Be your light. Whatever that looks like in your life. Sometimes it might look like making a hard decision or saying no to someone. Or yes. Sometimes it might mean that you need to practice self-love. You will know what this is. And we tell you in closing that there is never a time when we are not standing beside you. So when you need to remember these things, when you need some help in finding your light and bringing it out, remember this day, this conversation, this 11:11. That's all you need to do. Just remember. And once again, that light is shining. You are our star children. So we know that there is a light inside you. And today, or any day, let that shine. Now take a breath. We are your greatest cheerleaders. We are your best coaches. But you have to ask us. And then we are with you. Always. For now we step back. We return this broadcast to Mele'ha, who is happily helping us. And we step back and observe and surround with light and love. Dear Shining Ones. Oh, it's lovely to have all of you with me and know that we are together in this wonderful, thank you, Anna, beautiful message. We are together in this wonderful awakening. Kriyana said 350 million old souls on the planet, alive and working and playing together right now. So as we do this, as we celebrate this today or any day that you celebrate or find this video and listen to it, please know that I am so honored to be with you. And this is my deepest passion, my mission, and my honor, and my pleasure. Thank you so much.